More than half of all Americans over 65 have prediabetes. 52% their pancreas is already failing, and most have no idea. The pancreas has no pain receptors, none. It doesn't ache, it doesn't throb, it doesn't send warning signals. It fails in complete silence until a doctor tells you that you have diabetes. By then, the damage is done. In 15 years of practice, I've sat across from patients whose pancreas was barely functioning. They felt fine, they had energy, they thought they were healthy. Their lab work told a different story. Here's what I want you to know. There's a drink that costs 12 cents a day. It's been studied in randomized controlled trials. It directly supports the cells that produce insulin. And nobody in a 7-minute appointment is going to tell you about it. The drink is fenugreek seed water. You can buy fenugreek seeds at any grocery store, any spice market, or online. A year's supply costs less than one prescription copay. The system doesn't talk about this because there's no profit in a patient who gets better. If you're over 50 and you've never had your fasting glucose explained to you properly, like what the numbers actually mean for your pancreas, like this video right now, that tells me this is the content you need. And if you already know something is off, the afternoon crashes, the stubborn belly fat, the brain fog after meals, drop your age in the comments. I read every single one, and I'm building a library of videos based on what this audience actually needs. Subscribe and help this channel reach 100,000. That's how we make this information impossible to ignore. Your pancreas sits behind your stomach, about 6 inches long, shaped like a flat pear. Most people never think about it until something goes wrong. Your pancreas does 2 completely separate jobs. Job 1, it makes digestive enzymes, amylase to break down carbs, lipase for fats, proteases for protein. Without these enzymes, food sits in your gut undigested. You get bloated, you get gassy, you absorb fewer nutrients. Job 2, it makes insulin. This is the job that fails first. Inside your pancreas are clusters of specialized cells called the islets of Langerhans. Inside those clusters are beta cells. Beta cells are the only cells in your entire body that produce insulin. There is no backup system, there is no secondary source. When beta cells die, they're gone. Here's what happens when you eat. Blood sugar rises. Beta cells detect the rise. They release insulin into the bloodstream. Insulin acts like a key. It unlocks your cells so glucose can enter and become energy. Without enough insulin, glucose stays trapped in the blood. Blood sugar climbs, cells starve, organs get damaged. This is diabetes. After age 50, beta cells start to burn out. Not because of some rare disease, because of decades of accumulated stress. High sugar meals, processed foods, refined carbohydrates, chronic low-grade inflammation that never fully resolves. Your beta cells work harder and harder to keep up with the demand. They produce more insulin to compensate. Eventually, they exhaust themselves. They start dying off, one by one. This decline happens at a rate of 1 to 2% per year in otherwise healthy adults. In people with prediabetes, it's faster. Here's what nobody tells you. That decline is not inevitable. It can be slowed. In some cases, it can be partially reversed. That's where fenugreek comes in. Fenugreek is a plant. Its seeds have been used for centuries in cooking and traditional medicine. But this is not folk wisdom. This is documented biochemistry. Fenugreek seeds contain a rare amino acid called 4-hydroxyisoleucine. This compound does something remarkable. It directly stimulates beta cells to release insulin. But, and this is critical, it only works when blood sugar is elevated. That's called glucose-dependent action. It means the compound activates when you need it. When your blood sugar is normal, it stays quiet. It doesn't cause dangerous blood sugar crashes like some medications do. Fenugreek also contains diosgenin. Diosgenin is a steroidal saponin. Animal studies show this compound may promote beta cell regeneration. Let me say that again, regeneration. Not just protection, actual regrowth of insulin-producing cells. Diosgenin increases the number of insulin granules inside each beta cell. It reduces oxidative stress, the cellular damage that kills beta cells over time. On top of that, fenugreek seeds are loaded with soluble fiber. This fiber slows gastric emptying. It blunts the blood sugar spike after meals. It gives your pancreas breathing room. One compound stimulates insulin release. Another protects and possibly regenerates beta cells. A third slows glucose absorption and eases digestive burden. That's not one mechanism. That's a coordinated system of support for an organ that's been silently deteriorating for decades, for 12 cents a day. This is not speculation. This is not one small study from 30 years ago. A 2023 meta-analysis published in a peer-reviewed journal reviewed multiple randomized controlled trials in type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. The findings were clear. Fenugreek significantly lowered fasting blood glucose by about 20 points on average. It reduced HbA1c, your 3-month blood sugar average, by 0.54%. That's clinically meaningful. It improved HOMA-IR, which measures insulin resistance. A 2024 meta-analysis of 19 studies confirmed these results. Improvements in fasting glucose, improvements in HbA1c, improvements in cholesterol. One trial followed 280 pre-diabetic adults for 24 months. Those who used fenugreek daily alongside diet changes had significantly lower HbA1c. They also had lower progression rates to full type 2 diabetes. They stayed in the pre-diabetes zone, or improved. Animal studies showed direct effects on the pancreas itself. In diabetic rats, fenugreek extract led to histological regeneration of beta cells. That means under a microscope, researchers could see new beta cells forming, increased insulin granules, restored islet architecture. The human data on beta cell regeneration is still limited. We need more long-term studies, but the data on blood sugar control is strong. Strong enough that major scientific reviews now call fenugreek a safe, evidence-based complementary approach. Not a miracle, not a cure, a tool. A real tool backed by real research, for 12 cents a day. I had a patient a few years back. We'll call him Richard. Richard was 58 years old, retired engineer, sharp mind, disciplined habits. He walked 3 miles every morning before the sun came up. He ate oatmeal for breakfast because his previous doctor told him it was heart healthy. He avoided red meat. He avoided fried food. He did everything he was told to do. He came to me because he couldn't understand why he was gaining weight around his midsection. Despite the walking, despite the oatmeal, despite the discipline, his belly kept growing. His afternoon energy was gone. By 2 p.m. he needed a nap just to function. He figured it was age. I ran his labs. His fasting glucose came back at 104, just over the prediabetes threshold. His previous doctor had told him to watch it and come back in 6 months. That was the extent of the guidance. Watch it. No explanation of what was happening, no mechanism, no plan. I sat down with Richard and explained exactly what was going on inside his pancreas. I explained beta cells. I explained glucotoxicity. I explained that oatmeal, for someone with his metabolic profile, was spiking his blood sugar every single morning and making everything worse. Then I told him about fenugreek. He looked at me like I was joking. A spice, from the grocery store, 12 cents a day. He was skeptical, but he trusted me enough to try. He started the protocol that week. 1 tablespoon of fenugreek seeds soaked overnight. Drank the water every morning on an empty stomach. 8 weeks later, his fasting glucose was 94. His afternoon energy was back. His waistline dropped 2 inches. His brain fog cleared. Richard didn't need a prescription. He didn't need a $300 a month medication. He needed information. Information the system failed to give him. Your pancreas could be struggling right now. Here's how to know. Frequent thirst that doesn't go away. You drink water and 20 minutes later your mouth is dry again. Urinating more than usual, especially after midnight. Getting up 2 or 3 times to use the bathroom. Blurry vision that comes and goes. Sharp in the morning, fuzzy by afternoon. Tingling or numbness in your hands or feet. That's early nerve involvement from elevated blood sugar. Feeling exhausted 30 to 60 minutes after eating. You eat lunch and by 2 p.m. you can barely keep your eyes open. That post-meal crash is a major warning sign. It means your blood sugar spiked and then plummeted. Your pancreas couldn't keep up with the demand. Stubborn belly fat that won't budge no matter what you do. That's visceral fat, and it's directly linked to insulin resistance. Now check your digestion. Bloating or gas after fatty meals. Stools that float or look greasy. Undigested food particles visible in your stool. These signs mean your pancreas isn't producing enough digestive enzymes. The exocrine side is struggling too. Here's a simple at-home test. Buy an inexpensive glucose meter. They cost about $20 at any pharmacy. Test your fasting glucose first thing in the morning, before eating, before coffee, before anything. It should be under 100. Then eat a normal meal. Test again exactly 2 hours later. It should be under 140. Track this for 1 week. Write down every number. If your fasting glucose is consistently in the high 90s or above 100, your pancreas is already in early decline. If your post-meal glucose is spiking above 140 or 150, your beta cells are struggling to produce enough insulin. That's not a reason to panic, that's a reason to act. Here's the exact protocol. Simple, cheap. You can start tonight. Step 1. Buy whole fenugreek seeds. Organic if possible, but conventional works fine. You'll find them in the spice aisle, at Indian grocery stores, or online. A bag costs a few dollars and lasts months. Step 2. Every evening before bed, measure 1 to 2 teaspoons of seeds. That's about 5 to 10 grams. Place them in a glass or jar. Cover with 8 to 12 ounces of room temperature water. Let them soak overnight, 8 to 12 hours. Step 3. Every morning, strain the water and drink it on an empty stomach. First thing, before coffee, before food, before anything else. The water will be slightly golden. It has a mild, earthy taste. Some people say slightly bitter. You get used to it. You can chew and swallow the softened seeds for extra fiber, or discard them. Both approaches work. Step 4. Wait 15 to 30 minutes, then eat breakfast. The fenugreek primes your system before food arrives. It prepares your beta cells. It slows glucose absorption. Optional. If you want a second dose, soak a half teaspoon in the morning and drink it before your evening meal. What to combine this with? Balanced meals with protein, fiber, and healthy fats at every meal. Reduce ultra-processed carbohydrates, white bread, pastries, sugary cereals, soda. Stay hydrated throughout the day. What to avoid? Do not take fenugreek within 2 hours of diabetes medications. It can enhance their effect and cause blood sugar to drop too low. Monitor your glucose closely if you're on insulin or sulfonylureas. Consult your doctor before starting if you're on blood thinners. Fenugreek is not recommended during pregnancy. Start with a half teaspoon if you have a sensitive stomach. Work your way up. One harmless side effect. Your sweat and urine may smell faintly like maple syrup. That's completely normal. It means the compounds are working through your system. Track your fasting glucose weekly. Get full lab work at 8 to 12 weeks. Compare your numbers. Pancreatic decline accelerates after 50, but it doesn't hit everyone at the same rate. Some people show signs at 52, others hold steady until 70. Genetics play a role, but lifestyle plays a bigger one. How old are you? Write your age in the comments right now. I read every single one, and I use that data to decide what topics to cover next. The more I understand about this audience, the more specific I can get. If you found 2 or more red flags in what I described, don't wait. Don't watch it for 6 months. Start tonight. 1 to 2 teaspoons of fenugreek seeds, glass of water, soak overnight. Drink it tomorrow morning before you eat anything. Your pancreas has been working in silence for decades. It doesn't complain. It doesn't send pain signals. It just quietly fails until it can't keep up anymore. Now you know what to do. Start tonight.